Imagine for a moment the worst thing you've ever done. The thing that causes you the most guilt or shame. Now imagine that this thing or event precedes you in all aspects of your life. It's printed on your business cards. It's on your social media pages. And it's available for anyone to find on the internet with very little effort. In fact, imagine the worst thing that you've ever done was printed on your shirt. What would your shirt say? How would what people read about you on your shirt affect meeting new people, going out on a date, getting a job, or picking your kids up from school? What would your shirt say? I'm a liar. I drive drunk. I'm a bad parent. I've abused my child. What would your shirt say? For millions of Americans, this metaphoric shirt is a reality. The worst thing that they've ever done precedes them in all aspects of their life and is available for anyone to find on the internet with very little effort. Of course, I'm talking about people with criminal convictions and those that were formerly incarcerated. I share my talk with you today not only as someone who has some education on the subject, but also someone that works with this demographic of population daily, and someone that spent time in prison. Although my record dates back more than a decade ago, in many ways I still wear that shirt from my past. I'm a drug addict. I have a criminal record. The United States of America has roughly 5% of the world's population, but more than 25% of the world's prison population. We incarcerate more people than China, more than Russia, and more than North Korea. Now, either we're the most evil people on earth, or we're doing something really wrong with our justice system. What is the price tag at being number one? $80 billion. $80 billion. Now, I, for one, have a very difficult time wrapping my mind around $80 billion. If I were capable of saving $10,000 a day, every single day, it would take me 21,000 years to save $80 billion. What else could we buy for $80 billion? The average cost of a college education in the United States is around $20,000 per year. For $80 billion, we could fund 4 million years of college education, or approximately 1 million four-year degrees. How many people are incarcerated in the U.S.? Currently in the United States, there are over 2.2 million people locked up, with an additional 4.7 on some type of parole or probation. Once again, big numbers, right? If you add those two numbers together, the number of incarcerated people and the number of people that are on parole and probation, it's roughly equal to the entire population of the state of Washington, or the state of Arizona, or the combined entire population of Wyoming, Vermont, D.C., Alaska, North and South Dakota, Delaware, Montana, and Rhode Island. If you broaden the net, so to speak, to the amount of Americans that have an arrest record, not just a criminal record, the number becomes 1 in 4. Over 25% of the American population has an arrest record of some kind, which, incidentally, is more than the number of Americans that possess a college degree. So, take a second. Look around you. Look at the 4 people that are sitting closest to you. Which one of them has an arrest record? What does a person with an arrest record look like? What does their shirt say? What do 95% of the men and women that are locked up in this country have in common? 95% of the men and women in this country that are incarcerated have a release date. That means that 95% of the people that are incarcerated will, at some point in time, just like me, return to their communities. That number works out to be about 600 to 700,000 people per year. So roughly the population of Seattle return to their communities. Only about 5% of the population in prison are sentenced to life, sentenced to death, or will otherwise die during their prison sentence. So why? Solving for why do people return to prison? For the rest of this talk, I want to share with you what I believe are the biggest reasons that people return to prison. And then I want to share with you what I'm calling the 3 E's of successful reentry. Lastly, I want to share with what you can do and how you can help. The prison system in America is very good at punishment, but not at all effective at rehabilitation. This means that the very reason the individual went to prison in the first place goes largely untreated, and when they return back to their community, are in the same place that they were pre-incarceration. In addition, many individuals come out of prison with more problems and in many ways worse off than when they went in. Many individuals return to their community homeless, indigent, no jobs, no specialized training, and no specialized education. For those individuals that do have a place to return to, they're returning to the same environment that got them into trouble to start with. The only difference is now they have a new metaphoric shirt to wear for everyone to see, to read, and to judge. The 3 E's of successful reentry are largely based on my personal experience leaving prison. You see, I was very fortunate to be released to an organization that specialized in helping individuals coming out of prison. This organization provided me with housing, job leads, treatment and counseling, but most of all, this organization provided me with support. Fast forward many years later, I have the privilege of working for that same organization, providing the same services to other people in similar situations. Here are the 3 E's of successful reentry. Environment, employment, and education. Environment is a wide category. It speaks to where the individual works, but also speaks to where the individual lives and who the individual spends their time with. Very important in there is that support network that they have, made up of positive pro-social influence. Employment is critical to a solid foundation, as employment builds self-efficacy. Employment also helps the individual move towards self-sufficiency. Employment has been shown to reduce recidivism. Sadly, the majority of jobs available for individuals with criminal records are not living wage jobs. Education, another wide category, kind of in 2 parts here. Think of education in the traditional sense and the not so traditional sense. The traditional sense, college, trade schools, basic education. But in the not so traditional sense, like psychoeducation, treatment and counseling, as this type of education is essential for an individual to move through life's problems, to deal with drug addiction and alcoholism, and to navigate the challenges of the future. The organization that I work for today, the one that helped me so much, is called Sponsors. Sponsors is dedicated to helping individuals who return from prison to become productive, law-abiding, and tax-paying citizens. We've been doing this work since 1973, and our record speaks for itself. Research on our program has shown a reduction in recidivism by approximately 50%. 50%. Why isn't there sponsors in every county in our country? Frequently, our staff give tours of interested people, politicians, lawmakers, law enforcement, concerned citizens. They come and tour our property, the interest is there, the desire is there. But it takes more than interest and desire. It takes more than an organization. It takes community support and community buy-in. The picture behind me was taken on a cloudy day in Oregon. This is a mural at our main campus, right near our community gardens. A local artist designed this mural, but our community got together to paint it. Our staff members, our clients, our neighbors, our supporters, our community all got together to take a small piece and paint this mural. This illustrates what it takes to put an organization like Sponsors together. It takes community support and takes community buy-in. Now, I know I promised you 3 E's, but helping the returning citizen with the 3 E's of successful reentry leads to possibly the most important or bonus E, empowerment. When we help individuals through the 3 E's of successful reentry, we're empowering them. Empowered individuals know how to advocate for themselves, advocate for their needs, and in turn help others. As promised, here's your call to action. Hold your officials accountable. Let your officials know that you're tired of business as usual, that you're tired of throwing money at a system that does not work. For far too long, we keep feeding this system that does not work. Tell them that you want an organization like Sponsors in your backyard to address the needs of high recidivism. Jails and prisons should be used as a last resort and not as a first response. Create partnerships. At our agency, we create partnerships with local employers who look at our clients and give them second chances. Forging partnerships with local employers is not only beneficial for the returning citizen, but it's also beneficial for the economic development of the community. Believe in people. Believe in second, third, 14th, or 50th chances. Who are we to say when an individual's time to actually get it is? I was very fortunate that I had a small group of people, friends, family, a judge, and a small group of others who believed in me when I was having difficulty believing in myself. Create reentry organizations like Sponsors. There isn't enough low-income housing in our country in general, but especially not for people with a criminal history. I haven't had so much as a traffic ticket in over a decade. But if I needed to rent a house, even in the funkiest area of town, I would still face difficulties because of my past. Reentry organizations like Sponsors are an integral part of a public safety system. Addressing all of the needs of individuals in one place not only helps the individual's confidence, but also decreases the chances that they'll go back to prison. Wouldn't it be nice to be known as something, number one in something other than mass incarceration? Wouldn't it be nice to be known as the country that solved the problem as opposed to perpetuate it? Advocate. Advocate for those who do not have a voice. Advocate for those whose voice no one will listen to. Advocate to repeal harsh mandatory sentencing laws. Elect progressive district attorneys and judges and sheriffs. And give. Give of yourself. Give of your time. Mentor returning citizens. There are not enough people to do this work, and it can be very rewarding. Help individuals to rewrite the messages on their shirt. I'm a good person. I'm worthy of another chance. I'm worth more than the mistakes of my past. If we want to make a positive impact on our nation's recidivism, it begins the moment the returning citizen reenters our community. Thank you.